From the very beginning, people have been asking me to show drone footage, or hey, you should get a drone and fly a drone and it'd really make your videos look different. Well, I did. Here's the thing. When we first got this property, I wanted to document the before from above and from the ground. So I did record a long walkthrough video that is honestly horribly shaky. I used the wrong camera to do it. But I walked through the whole property and recorded the single four-wheeler trail that went through with no work done. And that was pretty cool. I also flew my drone that I had at the time. Oh, I still have it. And I got some aerial footage of the property. Well, the aerial footage kind of sucks for two reasons. Number one, it was really sunny when I did it, and there's no ND filter on that camera that's on the drone. The camera itself was low quality to begin with. And then also you're looking at treetops. There was no work done at that time, so you could see you couldn't see anything. It was just treetops. Boring, right? Nevertheless, I do have one or two usable clips that mean something to me because I understand what's down below. And I've never really showed those because, like I said, it doesn't really show or mean anything. Oh, I also had one successful drone flight with the excavator. I recorded the excavator knocking down trees. Anyway, shortly after those two, the gimbal broke on the drone, so the camera's off on a goofy angle, makes the drone pretty much useless. And it wasn't that nice of a drone to begin with. I mean, I still spent like $400 or $500, I forget which. But with this big property venture, you know, I don't want to spend that much money on another drone when we've got so many different areas for money extraction, I guess you could say. Got to be really disciplined with our budget and maintain discipline with our budget for this to all work out. So there's that. And then I did have plans to get a drone a little while ago after selling some stuff to reinvest back into the business. And at that point, it was the situation where all the crazy drones over New Jersey and whatever was going on over there. So you couldn't find any drones. All the decent, you know, videography type drones, DJI type stuff, the majority of it, other than the uber expensive stuff, was sold out, still is. So there's that. Anyway, I've been trying to record aerial footage of this property for a while. Fast forward into like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was interviewed by our local fiber internet provider. Fiber internet was being installed in the community right about the time we moved on to the property. So I didn't pursue Starlink or anything like that because I knew fiber was coming. So we had like 4-month stretch of using LTE cell phone internet to upload, which was that was an experience. Anyway, so we get fiber installed. They come and do an interview and they ask us, can we fly a drone over your property? Do you mind? And I said, absolutely not. Not only do I not mind, but can I get a copy of that? Can you email me or video email? Could you send me the footage from the drone? I would absolutely love to have that. And then yesterday it showed up. I got a link to download it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool seeing this area from above. So the rest of this video, I just want to play those back on the computer, pause it, maybe draw on the screen a little bit, and just talk about it. Right off the bat, oh man, look how different and awesome this looks. It is so exciting to see the different layers of the property. Speaking of different layers, right? So these pines, they're coming down because the beetles are killing them, right? And inside all the pines in the area where we haven't cleared is just nothing but sweet gums. There, occasionally through here is like a red maple, an occasional oak, but on this side of the property where the pines are, it's mostly sweet gum. So I'm not sure, I have no idea how we're going to manage this, or how we're going to, I have no idea what the end goal is for this at this moment. Do we keep the sweet gums and just let them grow? There's not much value to them, to the ecosystem, to us. Do we cut these down and plant different trees? I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting to see that these different layers, because this will be the tops once the pines are down. That's pretty darn interesting. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this. This is so cool to see. This is just so cool to see. Oh, pause. All right, so I'm playing this back in my video editor. What do we have going on here? All right, so this is the compost that I've slapped together with 4 pallets just to get something started. The garden that we slapped together just to get something started. You can see this area right here is nice and green. This is where the initial row of the long burn pile was, and we didn't do anything. This just popped up on its own, so a lot of carbon in the soil and whatnot. And then here's our sewer line. You can see from above our sewer line goes out right there. That's the I keep saying clean water. That's the discharge from our septic, and it's just lush vegetation over there. Got some logs. This area back here, if I can stop this from being a swampy mess, I'm going to start adding material here and there and build this up a little bit. Then this is kind of sort of where the sawmill area is going to be primarily. It may initially be elsewhere just because this is currently a soggy area, but eventually I want this to be this sawmill kind of an area. Let's see, we got the driveway coming in over here and it snakes around. That's looking good, looking good. Oh, let's hit play. Man, I love drone footage. I really do. Something that I noticed from this, you see that it's pretty hilly where we live, just driving around and driving up and down hills. But I didn't realize it was as hilly as it is before this drone shot. Look at this. Oh man, Mississippi gets a bad rap, but it's a lovely state to live in. So beautiful here. Our little piece of paradise. When you zoom out like this, it's like, no, you've got a lot of neighbors, dude. You're not out in the middle of nowhere, right? This is not in the not in some valley in the Smoky Mountains or anything like that. You've got neighbors. Beautiful. I love this. Oh, let me pause this. All right, so you can see the driveway comes in over here on the left side of the screen, and the left side of the screen is the commercially planted pines. These were purposefully planted to harvest at a future date. These are not natural to this ecosystem. Well, these specific ones aren't. And here on the right, this is all just natural hardwood growth. And there are some really, really big monster oaks and hickories and ash trees over here. It's a really beautiful side of the property. The hardwood side of the property is by far so much more beautiful than the pine side. Now, the pine side is interesting in its own right, but as far as just natural beauty, you got to give it to the hardwood side. And it's interesting that there's such a clear division in the ecosystem visuals. Like when you drive through the property on the trails or ride through or walk through, it looks totally different. And the dogs are growling on the floor right next to me, playing with their bones. So there's that. Yeah, this looks so cool. A lot of farms around us. Hey doggies, I'm trying to record a video. Excuse me. Okay, thanks doggies. And something else that's interesting to see with these drone shots that I've already looked at just a little bit is it's fantastic for spotting dead pine trees. I need to get a drone, kind of, sort of, to keep an eye on the pine trees a lot better. Driving around, the treetops kind of sort of blend with one another. Let me pause it here. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see the driveway coming in. And then this row of pines over here on this perimeter, this is still our property. And on the other side of those pines is a horse pasture. So these are all ours. And some beautiful farms around us. Stuff you don't really realize just driving down the road. All right, next shot is, this is our pond. And I guess that's a pretty cool shot. Oh, the white balance from the sun changed. Our pond is tiny. It's not big at all. It's the size of like a pilot truck stop interior, I guess you could say. That sounds like something. Oh, let me back up. Pilot truck stop interior. Some large store interior, not quite like a Walmart or anything. It's a quarter of an acre. It's a small pond. You can see these trees flank it all the way around, and it's a small pond. Some people have asked me what we want to do with the pond. Right now, it's just doing whatever it wants to do. We call this Turtle Pond because there are so many turtles all around it. I've started collecting turtle shells from just seeing out. I'm not killing turtles to take their shells. I've started collecting turtle shells, but Our neighbors said that their kids, when they used to explore the woods, called this Turtle Pond. And I'm like, oh, well, that's what we call it. So I guess that means something. This is Turtle Pond. And then another neighbor said that in the 70s, he was catching fish in this pond. So there are fish in there, but they're just small. This ecosystem for fish is simply not large enough to get, big bass or catfish or anything like that. Pretty cool. Here's another shot that is interesting to look down upon because you can see the dead pines, right? Some of these are kind of hidden inside the property where you can't really see, but you can definitely tell something's going on. So I've got a couple more that need to come down, and I kind of sort of know where these are. There's another one right there. So I mean, it sucks that they're there, but it's not like massively widespread, so that's good. I just need to really, really stay ahead of them and start at the first sign of the beetles, and then work my let's back up actually a little bit. Actually, can I go forward? No, those aren't pines. I'm backing up, back it up, and so this pine tree right here is dead, right? So the strategy would be to get this pine tree down and burn it, kill as much of the larva and all that stuff as possible, and then start with a radius around here, getting rid of the pines closest to it. And once I get a few trees around it down, then go to the next one that's dead and do the same thing. That way I can manage the beetle population while I start harvesting the material before the beetles actually get it. Alright, so treetops. Nothing special, nothing special. This is on the pine side, and you can see the sweet gums down below. The depth here, the different layers, is pretty interesting. It's like one of those photos you see online that's a photo, or on your phone or something on social media, but if you move your phone, it uses the sensors in your phone to kind of sort of make it 3D. Kind of gets that same feeling looking at the tops of the sweet gums compared to the tops of the pines compared to the trail down below. Pretty interesting stuff. Alright, he's twisting us around. This is our property line. And, whoa, twisting around again. Yeah, I don't know what he recorded. I watched it one time, but I don't know what his objective was getting this footage. He kind of made it sound like he was just going to try and record a bunch of stuff for me after he knew I was interested in the drone stuff. Alright, getting back to the 2-acre clearing, top left is where we have the home site. Right where, let me back up just a little bit. Right where this burn pile is right here, this is essentially where the house is going to be. We started piling right here to burn, and I don't mind destroying the soil right there. The burn is going to destroy the soil, because the house is going to go right there. Alright, so we come out of the clearing, and then this is the original four-wheeler trail right here. The original four-wheeler trail went from the screen left to right, but it also had one leg right here on the bottom of the screen that led to that bean field that's a neighboring property. So one major four-wheeler trail and then this little connecting trail. Alright, so now we're going through the main trail. I think this is when I told him, hey, we got a pond right over here, and that's where he was going to go find the pond. So, oh, there's another dead pine right there. I didn't see that one the first time we did it. Okay, so I know where that tree is actually. The pond is up here in the top left. Getting into the mix of hardwoods and softwoods. Okay, I think this clip he just wanted to check out the pond, and then he probably recorded the one we've already saw right after this one. Got some flowering trees. I don't know what those are. There's a cedar over here to your right. Alright, different shot. This is in the clearing facing, I don't know what direction I'm facing here. See, this is what the original footage looked like. It was just a bunch of treetops. You couldn't really tell much about the property other than, hey, there's a bunch of trees on it. It's cool to see the geography of Mississippi, though. We live in the forest, right? Mississippi is heavily wooded. Oh, I love this shot. Coming down the driveway. Walnut trees on the left. All this on the left is going to be wildflowers and natural grasses and growing up shelter for small animals with the big trees above. We've got stuff to clear out to the stuff to the left. On the right, I really needed to get a rotary cutter out here, a bush hog out here, and clear all this out. But the problem is, when we had this forestry mulched, you can see all this debris that's still left on the ground. I told him, don't focus on making everything into mulch, focus on getting it down. So that's exactly what he did. Well, that kind of wasn't the best strategy because I've got all this stuff that's too big for a rotary cutter to go over it. So I'm kind of like, oh man, it created a problem for myself. Coming through here, this will be a future orchard, or an orchard in the future, I should say. That sand pile to the right, I've yet to clear out completely because we've got so much rain, and timing with rain has just been a nightmare. And of course, we've got a lot of stuff here and there to pick up and organize, but that's pretty much typical of any ongoing construction in Homestead. Oh, there I am, just sitting inside the shop. All right, coming back the other way, I guess. Some pretty cool drone work, if I do say so myself. Just makes me want to get a drone even more. And then on the other side of the driveway right here, that's our initial experimentation with cardboard and wood chips and making our own mulch and all this stuff. And we want to go back through here. I'm going to pause this. We really want to go back through here and rip up all this cardboard. It's not decomposing at the rate we thought it would. And just let the natural stuff come back through. We didn't do anything over here. And this is all just natural grasses, natural stuff in the seed bank that was dormant for years and years and years and years and years while all of these trees took over. So we spoke to what's the word I'm looking for? A native. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the name of the company. It's a plant nursery that specializes in native plants for the area. And he said you're probably not going to have to plant hardly anything because there's so many seeds down in the soil that are probably just dormant because they're not getting enough of something, whether it's sunlight or something, to actually grow. And once you get rid of the trees, these seeds that are down there are probably just going to come right back up. So that's exactly what happened. On the left-hand side over here, we didn't do hardly anything. Right inside the ditch, we threw clover just to get some roots in the soil to stop the erosion in the ditch. But we didn't do any of these tall weeds and grasses and whatnot. On the right side over here, these are some chaos gardening with beans and such. So you see the leaves, those are beans that we just threw out there, and wildlife is eating that down. But that was just to get some roots in the soil while the grass came back, and it's starting to show around all these beans and such, starting to see all this grass come back naturally. We didn't plant any of this, and it's starting to come back, so that's wonderful. And then coming up to the driveway, and yeah. Oh, I love the shot. So I'm going to pause it here. You can see kind of sort of the layout we have going on. There's another shot I'm going to pause and actually draw on it. Man, this just gives a totally different perspective. Totally different perspective. One of the biggest surprises for us was the size, just the sheer square foot of our driveway. Not only the length, but even all this stuff right up here. It just takes a lot of material, and material's not free, we'll say that. Pretty cool drone shot. This is a reminder that I've got logs everywhere. I have logs all over the place. Oh, there's the new four-wheeler. That four-wheeler, by the way, love it. Let me back up just a little bit. This is right here. So somebody asked about this little strip that I have dangling from the lean-to. That is my super easy and cheap wind sock, right? So the fan placement inside the shop is determined by which way the wind is blowing to keep airflow going through the shop. So I just put one of the ends of a ratchet strap for your truck, like a tie-down strap. I just literally set it on top of that little eave right there in the shop, and whichever direction it blows or sways, that's my wind meter, my wind gauge. It works. It works. All right, so from here I'm going to pause it. Now I'm using my video editing software to record this, but I can also use a different piece of software called LightShot. If I press insert, LightShot is like it's like a screen capture program where you can capture things and draw on the screen, right? Let Let me back up, but if I press Control A, it allows me to draw on the entire screen. So over here is the future orchard, right? That's orchard. This will be sawmill-ish area. I need to go to the left. So let me press escape and do this over again. Let's go to the left. I want to get the rest of the clearing before I start really drawing on here. Yeah, I've got to get that sand spread out. The rain has just been, man, the rain's been driving me bonkers. All right, let's get the whole left side of the clearing, and right there, I'll pause it. All right, let's do this once again. Control A. Now, this over here is going to be orchard, right? This will be sawmill area-ish. I may end up doing sawmill right here for the time being, just because this is wet. I think I've already said that. This is the initial spot where the burn pile was. We had a 300-foot long windrow burn pile, and it's interesting to see that the grass really grew up right there. That's pretty cool. All right, so here's the plan. Let me start drawing some stuff. I used rocks as well as T-posts. So these are the four corners of the T-posts that are the house. The house will be here-ish. And the reason it has to be somewhat right there is because we have less than, what do you say, less than 200 feet or something like this that we need to come from this pad mount transformer for electricity underground, so we don't have voltage drop. So we're tethered to this location, and I think that's going to be fine for the house right there. Now the cool thing is when we're down here on the clearing looking this way, it's uphill, so it looks totally different than what you see in the videos where I'm typically underneath the lean-to shooting out this way or this way when it's raining. I've showed those shots a lot. It looks totally different because you're slightly uphill and you can see so much more depth, more height differences. So there's the house. Let's draw the driveway, and let's change colors to, let's go green for driveway. Okay. The driveway is going to be something like this. I want to wrap around the shop and then come up to this side of the house. So there might be a carport here. I'm not sure what this looks like, but this is going to be the general shape of the driveway. And the reason I want to wrap around the shop to go to the house is because the elevation is downhill in this direction, which means all of this over here is soggy the most. This is the last to dry out. Therefore, if it's the last to dry out, I do not want to be building all of this up just so I can drive on it, and then all of this becomes essentially a dam for the natural water to go that way, right? Does that make sense? So instead, we'll sweep around up to the high ground for driving. Now this also makes a lot of interesting visuals here. Let's go to a line drawing and change it to blue before water. So what we're getting here is gutters on the shop within the next week or two. I'm having gutters installed. This is something that we wanted to kick the can down the road as far as we could, but we have to do something now because we're getting too much washout right here. So the gutters will be installed. This side will be piped out to this ditch, something like this, going this way. This ditch runs off. That's good. And all of this will be accessible for future rainwater harvesting. I want to eventually harvest rainwater off of here to supply the house. That way I'm not tied to the city. Yes, we did have an investment into getting the city water installed, but that investment was still a lot less than getting rainwater started from the very beginning, and then also rainwater starting from the very beginning. That was right in the middle of our bad drought, so we wouldn't have had water anyway for a while, unless we brought in some water, which was a possibility, but anyway. So this gutter is going to be piped underground. This gutter is going to be piped underground eventually. Right now I'm just going to put something on top to get it out of the way. And then what I want to do is some type of water feature here. Something that's down enough to hold enough water year-round, but not deep enough to where, it's drowning hazard or anything like that, right? I don't want this to be like a 10-foot hole. So this will catch the rainwater runoff, and then we'll have some type of water overflow on this side to get into the natural ditch that's already here that takes water that way into other natural ditches that go into the creek. So there's no major water runoff issues. This shape may look a little bit different, may look something like this or whatever, where we have a more narrow pinch point somewhere in the water. I don't want this to just be a boring rectangle. I want to make it some type of a whimsical shape. After that's done, then we can have some type of walking bridge to go over this area. So that way you come out of the house and you can walk over this water feature toward the shop area. And this, I don't want to be stale and stagnant, so maybe a solar-powered water pump of some kind, maybe a waterfall, something to make this not stale and stagnant. We want to have a lot of bat houses over here somewhere. These trees are going to come down. So somewhere on this side, maybe near the sawmill or something, we want to have a bunch of bat houses because we are going to have water right here. Bats need a water source, so that's for them to survive. But also the bats will help with the pest population as far as mosquitoes and such. So I don't want much of a lawn at all. Jamie doesn't want much of a lawn at all. We've got so many time-consuming ideas that I don't want to spend a lot of time mowing the lawn. So what I'm going to do is instead we're going to turn all of this, let's go with a little darker green, all of this into, I guess it's not really too much of a green. These are going to be Jamie's eventual garden, right? She's already got this much space. You can see that's her original garden. Back up. But once she gets the swing of things, we'll put a whole bunch of garden here and here and here and here and all that good stuff. So this will be like household type garden type stuff. So you come out of the house, you pick some stuff, you go back in and you cook. Pretty cool, huh? There's that. And then on this side, we want to do, this side is open for negotiation. It can be pollinators. We could do pollinators up here as well. We definitely want to put the chickens down here. We want to do chickens, but we kind of sort of want let me back up a little bit and change color here so we can actually see what's going on. Kind of sort of want to have, let's just picture this. This is a dog pen. This is where our dogs would go in at night. So they can stay outside at night. They pretty much live in the shop at night, and then daytime right now when the sun is up, the doors are all open and they have free roam of the property. They never leave us. They're all over the place doing their own thing, but they do go in their cages at night too, so they're okay with being put up at night. So at nighttime, dogs go into the dog pen. Well, inside the dog pen, completely inside the dog pen, is the chicken coop and chicken run. So there's the coop and then the chicken run. So at nighttime, the chickens go in and then the dogs go in around it. That protects the chickens. And then during the daytime, the dogs go out, and then this opens up, and the chickens come out, and then the chickens will have all of this to range on without the dogs pestering them. So that's an idea we're tinkering around with. Maybe there's, all flanking this all the way around it. Maybe we have some pollinator strips all the way around it so that the chickens have something to peck around and all that good stuff. That's an idea. We don't know. This area down here is going to be left for just whatever it ends up being, because it's going to be soggy-ish. What else do we have going on? This will be essentially our backyard over here, and maybe some playground stuff for Tyler K or whatever. But honestly, I don't know how much of that stuff we're going to be building, because Tyler just loves to climb on trees and roots and all kinds of stuff that's already around. So if I make her a play fort or a play jungle gym kind of a thing, I don't know how much she'd actually use it. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting aerial shot right here. Lots to consider. We definitely want the garden in between the shop and the house. That way it's convenient. That way we look at it every single day, and that way it's always right there ready to go. The compost needs to go further away. We've already realizing that that's creating some pests that we don't like. And the water feature is pretty much a necessity, because we have to do something with the shop rainwater initially, and then after that We will have rainwater harvesting, and then the overflow for the rainwater harvesting at that point will go into this, if there is overflow. Now, we live in Mississippi. We get 55 to 60 inches of rain every single year. So rainwater harvesting is not an issue at all. I don't know much else I could say about this. This clearing has just turned out to be fantastic. We have trail entrances. So down here is an entrance to the shooting range trail. We've got a trail entrance up here in the top right to the perimeter trail, and then we have a trail entrance over here to the mattress trail, and then we have a trail entrance over here to the original four-wheeler trail, and of course the driveway entrance over here. So this clearing is highly accessible from basically anywhere on the property, and therefore you can access anywhere on the property right from this clearing very easily. Oh, here's those 2 dead pine trees that I mentioned in the last video. All right, I'm going to save this really quick and then move on. Pretty darn cool shot right here. And then also, like, this shot's going to be saved. I mean, I archive all the footage anyway, but in 5 years, I'm going to look back on this and be like, oh man, do you remember before the house was built? Do you remember before this was built? Do you remember before this and this and this? Oh yeah, we remember how much we battled all that mud, all that stuff. That's a pretty cool shot right there. See my windsock? Instant indication of the wind speed as well as the direction. Well, not the actual speed, but the relative speed. Like, is it really blowing? Oh, look at the treetops. They're really blowing. So this was kind of surprising that he had such control over the drone. It was pretty windy that day when he flew. Oh, we got a vertical shot for the socials. Vertical for the socials. All right, going from hardwood. Pines on the left, hardwoods on the right. Oh, I thought he was going to go further. Something that I really like about our property, we don't have any power lines. Everything's underground. That was a ridiculously expensive endeavor. That was a ridiculously expensive budget line, but we're happy with it. We are very happy with it. I am both optimistic and pessimistic about how this is going to look with all the pines gone. Because eventually, I mean, pines are coming down. We got to stop the beetles, and then I'm going to use them as material resources, obviously. But it's going to drastically change the way that this property looks. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, it's just going to be nothing but hardwoods. It's going to look even better. On the other hand, I'm like, well, the only thing that's established over there is sweet gum, so it's not going to look too crazy awesome. All right, well, that's the end of the drone footage. Hopefully you enjoyed my little narration through here, unscripted narration. Let me back up a little bit. I like that shot. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, we've done a lot of work. We've got a lot of work left to do. And we've got the rest of our lives to get it done. Thanks for watching.
I went out and tried to cut a pine tree down.